For the past 5 months, I've been building a dark fantasy roguelite Autobattler, a game steeped in necromancy, alchemy, and medieval science. In Alchemortis, every card you acquire has to be placed carefully on your grid to maximize your power. And with the alchemy system, you can mix cards together to create powerful mutations. The Steam page for Alchemortis is live right now. Wishlisting the game would help me out a lot. And starting today, the very first playtest of Alchemortis is live for Patreon supporters. That's right, you can play Alchemortis right now. I'll talk more about that later, but first, let me do a deeper dive into the game. The core loop of Alchemortis is pretty straightforward. You collect cards, power them up through events and alchemy, and arrange them on your combat grid, and then watch as the Autobattler system grinds through your enemies. It plays like a mix between a deck builder and an Autobattler, but the alchemy system makes every run feel unpredictable. Honestly, it's been really fun alchemizing cards and getting unexpected results in my playtesting. I'll have more to say about the alchemy system further into the video, but for now, let me show you how the cards in Alchemortis can interact. This is a skeleton warrior. It deals basic physical damage and it's tagged as a minion. Now here's an axe, tagged as a weapon. When you place the axe next to a minion, the axe's damage is doubled. Here's another example. This is a spiderling. It has the swarm ability, which means that it triggers whenever another swarm card triggers. You can flood the grid with spiderlings, or even give swarm to other cards through alchemy or enchanting. And this is a phylactery. It applies poison stacks, but those stacks grow stronger every time another card applies poison. Pair it with the quick striking ceremonial dagger, and your poison output ramps up fast. Add in a rat, which copies the poison abilities of its neighbors, or a giant squid, which applies poison 5 separate times, and you'll see your power with the phylactery skyrocket as the battle goes on. These are some of the natural synergies cards can have with their base abilities. But as I mentioned before, the real hook of this game is the alchemy system. With the alchemy system, you can combine 2 or more cards, as many as the alchemy grid allows. This alchemy system mixes all of the input cards together, jumbling their abilities, crit chances, multipliers, enchants, and even what the base card type is. Afterward, you get to choose from one of 3 alchemical results. The catch is, it's somewhat random, but you're never completely out of control. Alchemy results are always based on the inputs. Nothing appears in the outputs that wasn't already in the mix. For example, if I mix a Corvid, which will trigger twice if there's another Corvid on the board, with a Gorgon head, I could get a Corvid that inherits the Gorgon head's abilities, or a Gorgon head that echoes when another Gorgon head is on the board. This new alchemized card can then be used in future alchemies to keep snowballing its power. Some of the results that I've gotten while testing the system have been hilariously broken, but that's a lot of the fun of roguelite games. I want to make the player feel like they're breaking the game sometimes. Alchemortis isn't just about arranging the cards in your inventory or alchemizing cards together though. It's also about carefully managing your upgrade moments. Alchemortis is a roguelite, which means every run is different and death is part of the process. Between fights, you'll move around an overworld map, choosing your route carefully. Each step could be a battle, a relic discovery, or a risky experiment. As you move around the map, your notoriety goes up. Once your notoriety bar fills up, you're thrust into a life or death boss fight. In the current version of the game, the enemy faction you'll encounter is a simple one: Village Peasants. You'll fight enemy boards composed of basic cards like the Villager, who deals regular physical damage, or the Barkeep, who buffs nearby allies. I wanted it to feel like you were entering villages of medieval peasants, so I also created enemy faction cards that are livestock animals, like the Lamb, which deals more damage if there's a mutton card nearby. There's also a carrot, a chicken, and many other thematically appropriate enemy cards you can encounter. And yes, there's also a boss card at the end of the playtest run, but I'll let you discover its abilities yourself. One of my favorite parts of designing this game has been the risk-reward elements. Do you take on a tough fight to earn currency for upgrades? Do you grab a Vampire Fangs artifact, knowing it'll drain your health but give you lifesteal? Or do you try alchemizing a big, powerful card with a smaller one, risking the chance to either get something super overpowered or something underwhelming? Risk-reward is a big part of roguelite gameplay, and I'm trying to put an emphasis on choices being meaningful. Ideally, you can play Alchemortis as cautiously or as aggressively as you like, and your playstyle may change from run to run depending on how you're progressing. All of these systems come together to create a familiar but still unique Autobattler experience. Alchemortis takes inspiration from games like The Bazaar and Backpack Battles, but the single-player roguelite structure with the alchemy system as a central feature makes it feel really different. Thematically, I wanted the game to be darker. Necromancy felt like the perfect fit inside of a world of medieval alchemy. You're not a wizard casting spells like a traditional necromancer. You're an alchemist experimenting with forbidden science, concocting an army of the strange and grotesque. I didn't really think about it at first, but I'm discovering that a game's theme has a lot of influence over its broader appeal. The medieval science, alchemy, and necromancy themes, all mixed together in Alchemortis, create a really fun and intriguing atmosphere that definitely makes the game more appealing. The art style is something that I'm really proud of because I think it very strongly communicates those themes. This project has stretched my art skills more than anything else I've worked on, but the style I've settled into captures the dark themes I wanted. Everything you see, the cards, units, environments, is hand-drawn by me, pixel by pixel. I'm using an 8-color palette, and I have a rigid rule I adhere to. Every pixel that gets drawn to the screen has to be one of the 8 colors in the palette. That means there's no transparency and no mixing colors. It's a challenge, but following this rule has produced such a visually distinct style that makes the game stand out. As far as the actual card designs, I'm drawing from real alchemy for inspiration. I've also been referencing famous art pieces. For example, the combat widget, which is down here on the screen, has some visual elements in common with the Flammarion engraving, which is a depiction of the firmament. I love the idea of taking esoteric, pseudoscientific, and mythic knowledge from eras past and presenting it inside of the game world as if it's reality. I'm going to continue going to these sources for inspiration for the game's art as development continues. Alchemortis development started right after I finished my last game, Gunforged. It began as a small experiment after I played and loved the beta of The Bazaar. The Bazaar was my first real engagement with the Autobattler genre. It was fun, but I thought it would be interesting if this was an Autobattler with necromancy as its core theme. The initial prototype was super rough, as prototypes usually are, but as I added more cards and mechanics, the game sort of unfolded. A lot of the game's design hasn't been carefully planned, it's emerged naturally, and that's made it a lot of fun to develop. I think that's one of the biggest signals that the game is fun at its core. Coming up with new abilities, events, artifacts, and cards is relatively easy because there's already so much to draw from, and so many ways to make the gameplay interesting. The current playtest version, which again launches today for Patreon members, is just a vertical slice. One enemy faction, a handful of cards, and a single boss, but I've got a lot more planned. Different human factions to fight against, a permanent progression system, and new features that I'll be building with your feedback. For the launch of this game, I've set myself an ambitious goal: 50,000 sales. This is, as I said, ambitious, but I think it's possible as long as I don't drop the ball. Early playtests are going to be critical in reaching that goal, and I want to hear from you what works, what doesn't, and what would make Alchemortis stand out in the Autobattler and roguelite genres. One thing I'd really appreciate is if you could wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. Building wishlists is a big part of any successful game launch, so every wishlist helps a bunch. You can also sign up for my email list at firebelly.com if you want to be notified when new playtests go live. The launch of today's playtest is just the first of several to come as I continue building out the game with your support. And again, starting today, I've launched a Patreon where you can support this game's development and my work more generally. Patreon members can play the very first playtest build right now. The Discord server has also been launched and is open to everyone. It's where you can share feedback on Alchemortis or just hang out with the community. If you want to support development in the biggest way, the top Patreon tier includes a perk that gets your name in the credits of Alchemortis when it launches, as well as unlimited access to all of my Godot courses. If you would rather not support the project financially, that's completely fine. There's no FOMO here, or fear of missing out. The playtest will be open to the public after the Patreon exclusive early access. So a week or two from this video's launch, you'll be able to get immediate access to the playtest from the Steam page if you're not a Patreon member. I'll post announcements about that on all of the relevant social media, so if you're following me anywhere, you'll be notified. If you don't want to miss it for sure, again, you can sign up for my email list to be notified when the playtest goes public. So head on over to the Patreon if you're interested in getting immediate playtest access and supporting this game's development. Alchemortis development is just beginning. This is the first of many devlogs to come, and the game has so much potential. I'm having such a great time building it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts after you play it. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for your support. You'll find links to the Steam page, Patreon, and Discord in the description and pinned comment. I'd also love to hear what you think about Alchemortis down in the comments below, and I'm excited to share more with you in the coming weeks and months. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to support my work, please consider wishlisting Alchemortis on Steam, subscribing to my Patreon, joining the Discord server, or purchasing one of my courses. You can also sign up for my email list at firebelly.com. The links for everything are in the description below.